Hey guys, it should be Thursday for y'all. Hope the videos are going okay, and you let somebody know if they're not. So for Thursday's warm-up, we're gonna look at domain restrictions, right? Domain comes from the denominator. Thanks. All right, but looking at this guy, this is a minus, right? And so to add or subtract fractions, I have to have a common denominator. To get that common denominator, I need to factor both sides and then find my least common denominator, and see who's missing what. And remember, I use my least common denominator to find my domain restrictions. So for the left over here, I have x squared minus 4. So I'm looking for something that that multiplies to make negative 4 and adds to make 0. That's going to be 2 and 2. So one of those is going to have to be negative. So this one's going to be x minus 2, x plus 2. The first side. On the right side, I've got x squared minus 6x minus 16. So I've got a negative 16 multiplied to negative 6. Oh, sorry. Is there a GCF? No, there's not. So box and pants. I've got a negative 16 and multiply to make negative 16, add to make negative 6. It looks like a frowny face. How funny. So I've got 8 and 2, and the 6 is going to need to be negative. Sorry, the 8 is going to need to be negative to give me a negative 6. So I've got x squared minus 8x plus 2 minus 16. That would be my pants part. And then box it out real quick. Got an x squared, a negative 8x, a 2x that I forgot to write down right there. Sorry, Angelita. Negative 16. Got an x in common. They have a negative 8 in common, they have an x in common, and they have a 2 in common, because 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. So the factored form of the right side of this fraction is x plus 2, x minus 8. Sorry, I'm running into my other stuff. I'm going to erase some stuff real quick. So now I need to find the least common denominator, right? You okay if I erase my box? You can pause it and get it down. Or rewind, because that's a video. Fabulousness. So I need my LCD. And the left side had x minus 2, x plus 2. And then the right side has x plus 2, x minus 8. I've got an x plus 2 already. So I'm going to need an x minus 8. So this is my least common denominator, right? Find least common denominator. Sorry. I use my LCD to find my domain restrictions. I also need to simplify this expression. I'm going to erase some more stuff. Give me some more space. So I've got 5x over x minus 2, x plus 2, and I'm missing x minus 8. Remember, what I do to the numerator, I have to do to the denominator. And then I needed to subtract 3 over x plus 2, x minus 8, and I am missing x minus 2. So what I do to the denominator, I have to do the numerator, minus 2. I need to distribute before I can subtract, so I've got 5x squared minus 40x, and then that is still all over that whole giant denominator right there. And then I've got minus 3x minus 6, and all over that whole giant denominator. Because this is subtraction, I'm going to change it to adding the opposite. That becomes a plus, that becomes a negative, that becomes a plus. I now have 5x squared minus 43x plus 6 all over x minus 2, x plus 2, x minus 8. Now, 5 times 6 is 30. That's never going to get me to 43. So I'm not even going to try to factor that top guy. Okay, so I've simplified that expression. Now I need to find my domain restrictions. Remember, my domain restrictions come from my LCD. I have to take all this and set it equal to 0. So I have x minus 2 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, x minus 8 equals 0. I skipped one step, right, where I weren't writing it. Oh, here we'll have to get right there. So I'm going to add 2 on the top one. So I got x is 2. And I'm going to subtract 2 on the second one. So I got negative 2, and then I'm going to add 8. So I got x is 8. These are my domain restrictions. X cannot be those numbers. Learning target's the same as yesterday. All right, so to find the y-intercept, I set x equal to 0 looking at my function. Okay, so if x is equal to 0, I got 0 squared plus 0 minus 2. All over 0 squared minus 0 minus 6. 0 squared is 0, plus 0 is 0, and 0 minus 2 is negative 2. That's in my numerator, and the denominator, 0 squared is 0, 0 minus 0 is 0, and 0 minus 6 is negative 6. I now have negative 2 6. That's going to reduce to positive 1/3, right? My y-intercept, x, will be 0, not x, and my y is 1/3. So I could theoretically graph that point right now, right? So for the next part, I have to factor the function, my numerator and denominator. So I've done A part. This is A part. B part. Looking at my numerator, I need to multiply to negative 2 and add to positive 1. That's going to be 2 and 1, and the 2 is going to have to be positive. So my pants part would be x squared plus 2x minus x minus 2. I did box real quick. X squared, 2x, negative 2. X, it's got a 2 in common, it's got an x that has a negative 1 in common. So this would be x minus 1, x plus 2. That is my numerator factor. For my denominator, I've got x squared minus 6 minus x minus 6. To multiply to negative 6 and add to negative 1, that's going to have to be 3 and 2, and the 3 is going to have to be negative. So my pants part would be x squared minus 3x plus 2x minus 6. So if I box it out real quick, x squared, negative 3x, 2x, negative 6, x, negative 3, x, 2. Then I've got x minus 3, x plus 2. I have factored my entire function, right? So there's my B step complete. There was my A step complete. I didn't box it in, sorry. Okay, so for my x-intercepts, y needs to be 0. So I set the numerator equal to 0 and solve it. Because anything, 0 divided by anything is still going to be 0. So all that matters is that my numerator is 0. So my numerator now is x minus 1, x plus 2. So this is part C. Right? We'll set that equal to 0. So x is negative 1 equals negative 1, and x equals, it's positive 1. Come on, Nora, get it together. Negative 2, right? So my x-intercepts are 1, 0, remember it's a point, and negative 2, 0. Yes, it crosses the x-axis twice. All right, that's part C. Real quick to get D, I'm going to erase my box and pants. Pause it if you need it still. Right. So for D, I need to find the domain, and it's all real numbers except when the denominator equals 0. So just like finding domain restrictions, but my denominator is x minus 3, x plus 2. Set that equal to 0. X minus 3 equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0. Add 3. Minus 2. X is 3. And x is negative 2. And truly x can't be those things, right? Those are my domain restrictions. So that is part D. Part D. We messed that up on the test for break. We had a rough time with that. Just, yeah. Remember, if you're not catching it all, you can pause it and go back. I can only record for a certain amount of time, so I'm trying to hurry to get through. Remember for A, y, x, plug in 0 for x. So for A, I have 0 squared plus 0 minus 2 divided by 0 plus 1. 0 squared is 0 plus 0 is 0, so I have negative 2 divided by 0 plus 1 is 1. Negative 2 divided by 1 is negative 2. So my y-intercept is 0, negative 2. All right. So I need to factor the numerator and denominator. That was part A, right? Part B. I need to add to positive 1 and multiply to negative 2. So this is going to be x squared plus 2x minus 1x minus 2. So I got x squared, 2x, negative 1x, negative 2x, 2x, negative 1. So then I've got x plus 2, sorry, it kind of looks wonky, and then x minus 1 all over x plus 1. There's nothing for me to do to the denominator, so I only have to factor the numerator here. So that is my answer for B. For C, I need to set the numerator equal to 0. So x plus 2 times x minus 1 equal to 0. Split the two parts. That should be a 0, not some funky looking 8. X plus 2 equals 0. X minus 1 equals 0. Subtract 2. Add 1. X equals negative 2. And x equals positive 1. So my y-intercepts are negative 2, 0. And 1, 0. Very similar to my last one. All right, so that was C. So there's the answer to C. I can graph these points, right? No problem. So now I've got domain, all real numbers except the denominator. So I take my denominator, x plus 1, set it equal to 0. X cannot be negative 1. All right. When graphs approach something that can't be negative 1, they like do this whoop, whoop. We have an asymptote there, okay? All right, does that make sense? Well, kind of quickly, huh? Real quick, I wanted to show you this too. Our quiz will be next Friday, not this coming Friday. Then you have a quiz the Friday after that. And our next test will be Thursday, January 26th. Don't forget there's always math lab. Your homework for this week this week and next week will be domain and rational functions 1 through 9 and graphing A through D on 2 through 11. Okay. We will probably work more than those in class. You know how we roll.